Hey, welcome. Ever wonder how a huge video game gets off the ground? It doesn't always start with some massive 100-page document. Nope. Sometimes it all just kicks off with a single, simple request. And in this explainer, we're going to do just that. We're going to turn one sentence into a complete game concept, right down to what you see on the screen. So let's jump right in.
This is it. This is our entire creative brief. Just 7 words. Give me a game idea and its display. And that is super open-ended, right? Which is kind of exciting, but also, a little intimidating. We're starting with a completely blank canvas here. That's the real question, isn't it? You might think it's just magic, but there's actually a process to it. It's all about asking the right questions and building things up layer by layer, taking that tiny spark and fanning it into a real flame. And that's exactly what we're going to walk through together right now. So here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll find that creative spark. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty of crafting the core gameplay. After that, we'll build out the world, figure out the visuals, and finally, we'll design the display. It's a pretty logical path from a fuzzy idea to something you can actually picture. All right, first up, the creative spark. This is where it all begins. We've got to find that central hook, that one unique what-if question that makes an idea really pop. And here it is, our what-if. This question is the bedrock for everything else we're going to build. Don't even worry about the mechanics for a second. Just think about that concept, planting something maybe decades or even centuries ago, just to see its effect right now, in the present. It's a really powerful, cool idea. And just from that one question, we get our big idea. We're calling it Chrono Gardener. The name alone tells you a ton, right? Chrono, for time, and gardener for, nature. The whole idea is simple. You use the slow, powerful growth of plants across these huge stretches of time as your main tool for solving puzzles. Okay, so we've got a really cool concept. But a concept? That's not a game. Not yet, anyway. Now we need to figure out what you, the player, are actually going to be doing from moment to moment. This is the core gameplay. Now, before we jump into our loop, let's talk about what a gameplay loop even is. It's just the basic rhythm of a game, the stuff you do over and over. Think about Mario. You run, you jump, you stomp. Or Pac-Man. Eat dots, avoid ghosts, repeat. A really satisfying loop is what keeps you hooked. So what's ours? Here is the loop for Chrono Gardener, broken down into 4 simple steps. First, you're in the present, and you see an obstacle, like a giant chasm you can't cross. 2, you use your little time dial and whoosh, you travel way into the past. 3, you plant the solution, maybe a specific type of seed right at the edge of that chasm. And 4, you return to the present and boom, centuries of growth have turned that tiny little seed into this massive, beautiful tree bridge. That whole sequence is just simple, smart, and feels so good to pull off. All right, so we've got our mechanic, the what you do. But a great game needs more than that. It needs a why. And that's where world building comes in. It's the stuff that gives our actions real meaning and some emotional punch. So let's paint a picture here. You're not just some random person with time-traveling seeds. You are the last Chrono Gardener. You're exploring these beautiful, forgotten, overgrown ruins. The whole point isn't just to get to the next level, it's to restore life itself, to heal a broken, desolate world. All of a sudden, planting that tree isn't just about solving a puzzle anymore, it's this powerful act of hope. And that is so, so important. The what? Planting seeds across time is a really cool mechanic for sure. But the why, healing a broken world as the last of your kind, that's what makes it hit you right in the feels. The two have to work together to create an experience that really sticks with you. Okay, so we know what we're doing and why we're doing it. The next big question is, what does all of this actually look like? It's time to figure out the game's visual identity. And right here, we're at a crossroads, a really big creative choice. We could go with something stylized and minimalist. Really focus on clarity with clean lines and simple shapes. Or we could lean into a more painterly and lush style that's all about rich textures and atmosphere. Both are totally valid, but they create a completely different vibe for the player. For our game, Chrono Gardener, the choice feels, kind of obvious, right? A painterly, lush art style directly feeds into our main themes of nature and restoration. We really want you to feel the richness of the life you're bringing back to this world.
to see the detailed bark on a tree you grew, or the vibrant petals on a flower you planted hundreds of years ago. All right, we're on the home stretch. We're finally getting to that second part of our original prompt, the display. This is all about the user interface, the UI, basically the buttons, menus, and icons on screen that let you interact with this beautiful world we've dreamed up. The whole philosophy behind a good UI is pretty simple, actually. It needs to be super helpful, but almost feel like it's not even there. It should be intuitive, giving you the tools you need without cluttering up that gorgeous painterly art style we just decided on. So let's break down our display. Down at the bottom, you've got this simple little bar that shows your seat inventory. Over in the bottom left corner is the time dial. That's your key to jumping between the past and present. And then, tucked away up in the top right, there's a little journal, just in case you forget what you're supposed to be doing. It's all clean, it's functional, and most importantly, it stays out of your way. And there you have it. Just like that, we did it. We took a simple, super open-ended prompt, and by following a clear creative process, we ended up with a real, tangible game concept. We've got a name, a core mechanic, a world, an art style, and even a user interface. The big thing to remember here is that creativity isn't just some random lightning strike. It's a process. It's about asking and answering these fundamental questions. What does the player do? Why are they doing it? And how do they see it and interact with it? If you can answer those three things, you don't just have an idea anymore. You have the foundation for a real game. And honestly, this kind of thinking is a blueprint for almost any creative project out there. You know, this whole thing, it all started with a simple what if. It's probably the most powerful creative tool there is. So as we wrap this up, I'm just going to leave you with this. Every single amazing creation you've ever loved, every game, every story, every invention started with that same simple spark. So what's yours going to be?